friends. So it is a long time no see, and I am here to teach you how to make the confetti Tunisian crochet blanket. So I trust that you have all the tools necessary. If not, head down below and I've got a fun reference sheet for getting all of the great supplies, and be on the lookout because I'm going to have a YouTube giveaway for these. If you're a future watcher, I'm sorry that giveaway is probably closed, but nevertheless, you can still look at the reference sheet. So to begin, we're going to be casting on this super fun yarn that I love. Haha, I love this yarn, and it is in the color Fruit Salad. I don't agree that this looks like fruit salad. It looks like confetti, hence the reason why I've called this the Confetti Tunisian Blanket. But that is neither here nor there because they didn't ask me what we should name it. Okay, so if you're new here, hi, welcome. I am a little silly, but we have fun on this channel, right? We have fun during these tutorials. Okay. So this blanket is super beginner friendly, okay? So if you've never Tunisian crocheted before, that is totally fine. And I do have an email class that I have put together that you can sign up for down below if you would just rather do that and just take the class. But if not, this PDF is purchasable down below as well. Today's video is essentially showing you how to start the blanket, the stitch we're going to use, how to close the blanket, and then how to add a border, okay? So I'm not going to sit here and make a full blanket because that's not really necessary. I'm just going to make a swatch and show you how to do it. And then if you get the PDF, all of the exact numbers for 6 different blanket sizes are going to be down below, okay? So hopefully that is helpful to you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to make a chain. So I'm assuming you at least know how to make a foundation chain here. So this 3, let's do 16. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay. So in the second chain from the hook, remember the loop on your hook is not considered a chain. We're talking about these little guys down here, and it's just one of the loops. So this would be 1 and 2. So you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, and draw up a loop. And this is Tunisian crochet, so we have this kind of rad tail going on here. These are my favorite hooks for blankets, by the way, but we are not like working single crochets. This is slightly different. So our loops are actually going to stay on our hook. That's why we need a long one with an extra little tail. So go into the next loop and just do the same thing. Yarn over and just draw up that loop, and go ahead and leave it there. And continue this pattern all the way across. Just a yarn over, insert into the next loop, draw up that loop, and let it hang out on your hook. Okay, so we're just scooting along. Just like this. Going along. We're at the end. Okay, so you might be thinking, this is weird. Do we turn at this point? Especially if you've never done Tunisian crochet before. Just a little thing to let you know, Tunisian crochet is worked from right to left and then back left to right, okay? So you have 2 rows essentially. So there is no turning like in regular crochet. Basically what we're doing here is we are setting the stage for us to be able to make this blanket, okay? So we've worked ourselves across, we're kind of getting our stitches in place, and now we're going to do what is called a standard reverse row. And basically what that means is we're just kind of doing the wrong side, if you will. Now, if your pattern, this one doesn't, but sometimes you may see in a pattern that it might call for something a little bit different on your standard reverse row. You'll want to follow those instructions, but just pay attention. But for this pattern, because this is definitely a beginner blanket pattern, it's just a regular standard reverse row. I know that sounds redundant, regular standard, but it's worked exactly the same as any standard reverse row. So the way that is, you'll do a yarn over and you'll pull through 1 loop at first. Then the remaining loops on your hook, you yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2 all the way back across so we can get back over here to our starting point. So just yarn over, pull through 2. And do that all the way across to get back to the beginning. Okay, we're back at the beginning and we've still got this 1 loop on our hook. And if that's how you ended, you got 1 loop on your hook, you're doing the right thing. So we're going to still move forward. So here's where we get into the stitch portion of the blanket. So we're looking at Tunisian crochet here, and it's slightly different than regular crochet. One thing you'll notice is these vertical bars going across, right? So in the vertical bars, what you'll want to do is you're going to insert your hook underneath that first one and draw up a loop. Go underneath the second one and draw up a loop. And continue this. You're just working behind those vertical bars. Right there. Working behind those vertical bars. Very, very simple. Now we do this all the way across, and for the very last stitch, we do something slightly different. So I'm going to get us there to the end, and then I'm going to show you what you need to do in order to ensure that you're getting nice, clean, straight edges, okay? So we're almost there. So there's our last kind of like regular Tunisian simple stitch, which is what this is called, if I didn't already say it. Oops, sorry. Okay, so here's the edging. Now, if you'll look, I'm going to do my best to kind of make this visible. If you look right here, you've got these 2 stitches right here, and then you've got this 1 stitch right there. When you're getting ready to do your edging stitch, your last stitch, you're always going to take your hook and insert in between these 3 stitches. So you'll always have 2 on your left side and 1 on your right side, and you stick your hook right in between. So if you look, I've got my 2 right there, yarn over and draw up a loop, and here you can see it even better. My loop has been drawn up and I've got 2 right there and 1 right there. And that is how you ensure that you have a nice straight edge, because what ends up happening is as you work up more rows, this is a very predominant V, and that's what we want. So now we're going to work another standard reverse row, and it's worked exactly the same way as it was previously worked. It's a yarn over, pull through 1, then yarn over, pull through 2, and get yourself all the way back to the beginning. And so for the confetti blanket, the entire blanket is made with this 2-row repeat. You're literally just working those Tunisian simple stitches behind those vertical bars, and then just making sure that you are paying close attention to how you're working that ending stitch. So if I was over here, we're going to pretend like I'm over here. I've already worked this stitch. Right here, you see, you've got 3 strands. These 2 strands right here, you would insert your hook behind it, okay? Creating that V, you would yarn over and draw up that loop. It would leave you with 2 strands on your left and 1 strand on your right. I'm emphasizing that because this right here is where a lot of people get tripped up and it's confusing, and I just want to ensure that that is not the case for you. So I'm kind of like over explaining it. So I'm sorry if that's annoying, but I want you to have success. Okay, so that's all you would do. Now let's pretend you've gotten all the rows necessary in order to make the blanket size that you are trying to make, okay? So now we got to get this stuff off so that we can in turn create the edging to our blanket. You don't have to add the edging, by the way. You can leave it off, but it's just there in case you do want it. Okay, so this is what you would do. You would just go on like you're getting ready to just work another Tunisian simple stitch row, and instead of leaving that loop on the hook, okay, like that, you would insert underneath the vertical bar, yarn over, pull through 1 and pull through the other loop. And so you'll notice, let me go ahead and work another stitch because it's a little easier to see after you got 2. You pulling through both. So now this stitch and this stitch are closed, if you will. This is very similar to casting off, like what you would see in knitting, which is one of the reasons why I like to words are hard. Describe Tunisian crochet as if knitting and crochet were to have a baby, because there are some crossover similarities. So essentially what we've done is we've casted off those two stitches. They're closed, they're not going anywhere, and we can continue moving across to ensure that everything looks uniform. So once, honestly, you get those first two done, you can literally just go like that, and that next stitch is done. And just insert your hook and pull through both of those, just like that. And work all the way across, okay? Really, really simple. And you'll just want to make sure that whenever you get to the end that you're paying attention to what I said previously about where to stick your hook, so that even as you're closing off the stitches, everything still looks uniform. Now you might think like, how the heck are you going to show me how to add an edging with this little piece? Trust me, it'll work, okay? Don't worry. Okay, so here we are. We want to make sure again that we've got the two on the left and the one on the right. Just insert your hook right into there and then just pull it all the way through. Okay. Alrighty. So here is where the edging starts to happen. Okay. So depending on how wide you want to go, and you can kind of take creative freedom here. You can make a really wide one if you wanted. It doesn't matter. So this is what I like to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let's do 6, okay? We're going to chain up 6, and we're going to work in the second from the hook. We're actually going to, this is where regular crochet is going to come in. We're just working single crochets all the way back down. So this is going to like feel and look weird at first, okay? But just trust me. Just trust me. It'll be fine. So we're working single crochets, okay? We get down here. Oh, friends, look at that hair. Ugh, it's inevitable. Okay, so we're back down to the base. So as you can see, we're like working the side here. What we're going to do is we're coming out of this spot. So we're going to come here and we're going to slip stitch like that. And we're going to slip stitch into the next one. Then we're going to turn the work, okay? And you're going to kind of skip, sorry, I'm looking at it underneath the camera. This one where we're coming out of, you don't worry about putting anything there. So hopefully you can see, you've got a loop there. Let me see if I can grab it. So you've got a loop right there, a loop right there, and then a loop right there. So your loop on your hook is coming out of this one. This one here is kind of like a placeholder, so you don't put anything there. And next would be the base one that you did of this little kind of chain here. So you kind of, I guess, skip 2 is the best way to say it. So you're going to go in the back loop because, again, we're making like a faux ribbing. And if you're looking at the top of your project, you can see that V. And if it's facing you, this loop here would be the back loop. So you're going to insert and work a single crochet. This makes more sense the more you work along. So you're just working a single crochet all the way up to the top. And when I get to the end, I actually work that last one in both of them, and here's why. I'm going to show you what it looks like when you work in both of them. Slightly cleaner, okay, versus if you work it in only the back loop. I feel like it stretches this hole out a little bit more. It's kind of hard to see it right now because we only have two rows worked up, but the more you work up, you'll start to notice that you've got kind of this opening. So that right there is the reason why on the last stitch, I actually work into both of them. I like it better, and I like it to look as uniform as possible. Okay, so now when you have a big blanket, you're not going to need to like grab the whole blanket and flip it. You can literally just turn the edge. So you turn it again. Okay. It's kind of hard to see right now. Can you see that hair glistening? Look, do you see it? Another hair. Sorry for the creepy whispering, but chain one as we're working back across. And again, we're going into the back loops. So if I slide my hook under, you can see the clearly defined V there. We don't want that. We just want to go into one. So work single crochets in the back loops. Sorry, I'm sitting on my string. And go all the way down. All the way down to the bottom. And then here is where you would slip stitch. And then slip stitch into the next one. Okay. Slip stitch, and now we're going to turn and we're going to go work ourselves back up to the top. Okay. So again, it's kind of hard to see. I know. I'm sorry. It's coming out of this one. There's that placeholder one we did. So we're going to go into the back loop of this one here. So kind of just make sure things are tight so that it's not being stretched out. This takes practice too, so don't get frustrated if it doesn't happen right away. Just be patient with yourself. But once you get the hang of it, it is rather easy. So working along, and remember, sorry, I bumped the camera. Remember to do 2 in the end. So now, as you can see, we've done like the side. And so what we have to do now is we've got to stand it up and go all along the top here. Okay, so this is where it's gonna maybe look a little weird, but we did, how many did we do? Did we do 6? So once you're at the end, so we did our last stitch, and now we need to kind of stand up and come down a different direction. We're at a different side, if you will. We're going to chain up 6 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And exactly what we did here, we're going to do it this way. So now, like, imagine the project is being worked like this. I know it's kind of weird, but it really, really is easy once you get the hang of it. So again, it's just the same thing. We're just working those single crochets back, just up and down. And you will notice, you're going to catch it real quick if you forget to do the 2 slip stitches as you're working across, because what will happen is, rather than being like real straight and uniform, your thing will kind of spread out like this. And that's not what you want. You don't want it spread out. So working back down to the bottom. So here's the bottom of the chain that I just did. And we're going to need to move across here. Okay. So this was the direction. Now we're going this way. So what we're going to do is, I'm coming out of this stitch here. We want to slip stitch to this one, slip stitch to the next one, and then turn. Okay. So remember, you're going to skip those 2 and immediately start working in the back loop and just working those single crochets in the back loop, because we're going at just making more ribbing. So turn it again. So can you kind of see what I'm saying here? So here's the edge, and now we're going this way, right? Here's the edge. It's kind of hard to, the white, it's kind of hard to see. I know, I'm sorry. There's the ribbing right there. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to work up a few more rows, kind of just speed it along so you can get a better feel for what I'm saying. But hopefully you understand it. Okay, so hopefully you're starting to get the idea of what I'm saying here. It's just, You can kind of see the ribbing a bit better there. So you're going along, you'll go along one side, and when you get, so here's the edge of my blanket. You'll go your ribbing along one side, and when you get to the edge, you'll end like at the top of the ribbing. You'll chain up the same amount you did here, and then now your blanket goes from being worked this way to you're going to shift and you're going to work across the next section. And then you just keep doing that over and over until you get back to your starting point. And so kind of like this is how the corners are going to look. Rather than having like a crisp edge, they're going to overlap just a little bit like that. Because if you look here, let's see. So you've got these two panels like this, and then the rest of it is kind of coming across like that. I might be over explaining it and creating more confusion, I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, if this just proves to be way too frustrating and confusing, which it can be, and I'm sorry if that is the case, I'm really trying to make it to where it's not confusing. You can kind of see the ribbing right there. Just do a single crochet, maybe 2 single crochet rows all around the edge of your blanket, or half double crochet rows, and just be sure that when you come to your corners, put 3 in the corners, and it'll give you a nice rounded corner. So don't allow yourself to get super frustrated if this is just, you know, too technical. That's totally fine. Save that for a skill you develop later on. And perhaps I'll make a dedicated video just to teaching you how to do that. And if you'd like me to do that, actually, go ahead and pop in the comments and let me know if that is something that you would like for me to do. So this is the basics of how to make the Tunisian confetti blanket. That pattern is purchasable down below. It's $6 in my Etsy shop, and it has 6 different blanket sizes. And if you want to take the Tunisian crochet class, it's an email class sent straight to your email. Super simple, easy. Every single class comes with a free pattern PDF, and this is the very first one that I teach my students. So if you want to have more kind of like exclusive freebies and stuff like that, it's totally free. Head down below and sign up. Alrighty, friends. I hope that you enjoyed this. Let me know if you did, and I will see you in the next tutorial.